The battle of the sexes, it's something we've all seen play out in tennis. We've watched it across generations, even though there have been only a few instances of this. But more importantly, sports fans have always been excited at the prospect of it. Until now, I think. This fourth installment, the fourth chapter here, whatever you call it, of the battle of the sexes will see Aryna Sabalenka go up against Nick Kyrgios. That's right, that's the matchup. And suddenly I'm wondering, should I continue to be excited and enthralled at the prospect of seeing how this plays out, or should I be seething? Let me explain here, and for that we have to begin at the start with the very first time this took place. The year was 1973. Bobby Riggs, a retired tennis player, former world number one, aged 55 at that point, took on the women's world number one back then, Margaret Court. It happened in May, and the defeat was resounding. Riggs won in straight sets, and many called this a Mother's Day massacre. Brutal, yes, prompting the number 2 ranked women's player Billie Jean King to challenge Riggs for another face-off the very same year. It took place in September. It was a grand event with dramatic entrances, Billie Jean King entering being carried by men, Riggs coming in a rickshaw surrounded by models. This is what went on to become the much talked of battle of the sexes. More so because Billie Jean King won. And this win was hailed because the match became a symbol of the growing women's liberation movement. King's victory challenged stereotypes that women athletes were perceived with, and this also gave a boost to the WTA, the Women's Tennis Association, that was founded that very year. It was the perfect script to champion gender equality. And then, of course, came Jimmy Connors versus Martina Navratilova in 1992. Connors and Navratilova both passed their prime, one 40, the other 36, though the latter still was in the top 5, Connor outside the top 50. The match ended with Connors winning. Cut to now, and you have Aryna Sabalenka, all of 27 years of age, a Grand Slam champion, the world number one, being pitted against Australian Nick Kyrgios, who I just can't remember seeing play an international tennis match this year. I'm of course exaggerating, but here's the stats. He is ranked 650 in the world, has never won a Grand Slam, talks faster than he serves, and plays some tennis in between his more serious profession, commentary. A matchup so skewed, I'm wondering, why is this even taking place? Now look, I understand, men and women are built differently, the physical strength is not comparable. But that's not what I'm pointing out here. And it's not even about who ultimately wins this one. It's just about the optics of it all and what message are we sending via this. Let me set an example for you, in fact. For the longest time, Serena Williams and Andy Roddick were kidding of playing out a chapter of the battle of sexes between them in the early 2000s. One that never materialized, unfortunately. And if you compared the stats of those two stars, it reads something like this. Serena Williams, winner of 23 Grand Slam titles, a GOAT in tennis, a Jordan of the sport, like Roddick himself has pointed out, and Andy Roddick, winner of 1 Grand Slam. In fact, in another tangential conversation, David Letterman even asked why the world should not see a Serena versus an Andy Murray battle, for example, to which this was Serena's coy response.
Andy Murray has been joking about myself and him playing a match. For me, men's tennis and women's tennis are completely, almost, 2 separate sports. If I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 5 to 6 minutes.
Now, while there is some reflection of logic there, certain level of common sense too, yes, the one thing you see, of course, is humility. She's modest enough to realize where this face-off could head, even though she was equipped with the most powerful ground strokes ever. And then there is Nick Kyrgios, who, when asked about the daunting prospect of facing someone like Aryna Sabalenka next month, a winner of 4 Grand Slam titles to his 0, says this.
Women cannot return our serves. Do you really think I need to give 100%? I think I'm going to be okay. I'd say maybe like 6-2 to me.
Could be mind games being played, just gabbing about before the whole thing plays out. And of course, it's after all just an exhibition match. But that's what should rankle you all about this. A match between a world number one, a champion of the sport in her prime, however physically mismatched to a male tennis player she may be, taking on someone who doesn't look like he's even serious about his career. and is not even in the periphery of Sabalenka when it comes to the sport and relevance. Fans, of course, are outraged as to why Sabalenka even agreed to this, and rightfully so. Of course, a lot of other subtext in there, but we won't go into that at this point. Now, there are two things here. One, the concept of the battle of the sexes itself. Back in the early 20th century, it was riveting, it was inspiring, it meant something. Even though we witnessed a young woman fighting a senior player, Billie Jean King was 29 and Riggs almost twice her age. But that was poetic, it was magical, it was because of the times they lived in, where women had a lot more to fight for, where the concept of equality itself didn't exist. Today, you can't sell the same model by slapping on different faces and faces that have no semblance to a sense of equality, at least on paper. That just can't work. It is incredulous to see a world number 1 taking on a world number 650 who has only managed to reach one Grand Slam final, and just about. Battle of the Sexes was a concept that had some weight. It carried a message, a play to break stereotypes. This edition is only proving to be more farcical than inspirational.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.